And hello, everyone, everybody in the Move, Think, Smile group, and all of our rock stars in the fatigue-free, professional, and burnout to badass group. What's happening, y'all? Adam and Elea coming at Hear You Live, Hear You at Live, on this Tuesday afternoon. Super awesome. For all those guys who sent out concerns to us about the hurricane and Hurricane Dorian, we were literally about 30 miles away from the eyes that passed by the coast of Charleston, South Carolina, and we came out unscathed. I will tell you, though, there is nothing more frightening than waking up in the middle of the night and seeing your ceiling fan spinning above your bed, but the power's out, and your house is shaking so much from the wind. It's definitely quite an experience, and one I would suggest no one ever have in their life. And we're doing fine. Most everybody we know is doing fine. We had a lot of yard debris. We had one tree blow over right next to our garage. And luckily, this really cool thing that Elea had built, propped it right up and saved the day. And we took it down and everything's doing good. But what we want to really come out here and talk about today, and it kind of has to do with a hurricane, because what's interesting with a hurricane is that everybody knows it's coming. And a lot of people ask, why do you keep living in the Southeast? Why do you keep living in Charleston with all the hurricanes going on? I'm like, well, if you think about it in other parts of the world, like where you have tornadoes or earthquakes, or even tidal waves, like you don't necessarily know the earthquake's coming, right? You don't necessarily know the tornado's coming. I mean, the conditions are present, but you don't know the tornado's coming. With a hurricane, you know days in advance if this thing's going to hit you or not, based on all the different spaghetti models of predictability and wind forecasts and NOAA and the National Hurricane Center and the Weather Channel and all those guys, holding their microphones out to hear in the wind when it's not always that windy. It's kind of funny sometimes. And what this has to do with today is we want to get in and talk about, 3 blind spots sabotaging growth in your career or business. Because I don't think a lot of people really understand that trying to grow your career, trying to navigate a powerful career, or when you're growing your business, it's really trying to navigate around a hurricane. And we like to call it, we call it hurricane burnout, because it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Burnout is always ready there to just take you down, right? If you let it. And a lot of people have these blind spots that just really prevent them from making the income they want, really prevent them from having the freedom and making the impact they want. And what's crazy is, my good friend of mine who says, most people sabotage themselves right before they're about to be really successful. Mm-hmm. And we've seen it again and again. And it's like every time you're ahead, you inevitably, you slide backward and you just start, and it's just the wrong time. And what's happening, we don't know. And the thing is, it's really tough, trying to navigate this stuff without sacrificing your health, your sanity and your freedom. It's really, really challenging, and as leaders and business owners and entrepreneurs, we all feel it. We've all been there. And that's what we really want to talk to you guys about today. Are those blind spots that are really sabotaging people's growth. And it's not just their growth in their career or business, but it's also sabotaging their health. It's sabotaging their energy. It's what's leading to a lot of exhaustion, a lot of fatigue, a lot of burnout out there. And that just trickles down the path to all these health problems. And it depends on your environment and your genetic makeup on where you feel it the most. For some people, it's just some backaches and muscle aches and body pains. And other people, it gets worse. It leads to some weight gain. Sometimes it's weight loss. Sometimes it leads to either severe chronic mental illness or sickness diseases or physical diseases. And Elea, so let's dive in right now. So we're talking about the 3 blind spots sabotaging your growth and career business, and what you can do to remove them.
Yes.
So as you put it, and I love this first one, the first blind spot is most people are living in a boxed life, and your command to them is you've got to stop living in a boxed life. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, so think about it. So many of us spend time in our box house, and then we jump in our box car, and then we go to our box office, and then we're eating our boxed meals and our processed meals, and then we're sleeping in our box bed and taking showers in a box, and we're just boxed in, not only physically in our environment, but mentally as well. We're not allowing any creativity to come in. We're not allowing any spontaneity. Routine is good, but a lot of people are just dying from the mundane. And as we said, everything is boxed, right? And you start to feel boxed in. When you're burnt out, when you're exhausted, when your health is taking a beating, you start to feel trapped, boxed. It's like, how am I supposed to get out, right? And that's something that we hear a lot with people when we talk on the phone is is they just feel like there's no way out. They feel trapped. It's like, well, I can't do this until I have this, or I can't, move forward here until this gets resolved. And this leads, of course, to, like we said, stop living a boxed life.
Well, what's interesting here is, the whole think out of the box concept came out. I don't even know who coined that. I know it became super popular in the 80s and 90s. Thinking out of the box. And I know that I was hired, I got out of grad school to think outside the box. And so many people will think outside the box. But basically what they do is they climb up to the top of the box. They put their head outside just enough to think outside of it. And then they go back into the box and say, hey guys, I got an idea. We're going to color outside the lines a little bit, but we're going to stay in the box, which is basically what happens over and over again.
Yeah.
And so when Elea says, stop living a box life, this means, stop following what everybody else is doing, right? Because, and I don't know if you've heard us talk about this before, but Elea likes to say, what is it? Normal is the new deadly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's living a box life is following an average life. It's following what everybody else is doing. It's following the norm. It's following the status quo. It's following all of this stuff. And the biggest blind spot there is, and Ellie, tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, is that because everybody else is doing the same thing, you can't see what's really going on.
Yes, that's true. And the fact that, so many people, it's all about goal setting, right? We're trying to get out there. We're trying to set goals. We're trying to level up our careers, our business. We want to have the energy to do that and the health to do that. And a lot of people get really stuck with the whole goal setting thing to get to that next level. And a lot of times it's because either they set their goals too low, so they're not motivated, or they set their goals too high, so it becomes unbelievable, or they start to tell themselves things like, my goal is selfish, or my goal is not going to fit society's idea of what a good goal should be. And so people, they start to lose faith, they get jaded, they get distracted. And again, that leads them to feeling trapped, right? Yeah. So it's really, about understanding, what are your beliefs right now? What are those beliefs that are keeping you locked into what you think you have to be doing, even though it's making you miserable and sick?
Yes, absolutely. And I think what's really interesting here is and I love to use the my old picture, the one when I was, I gained a bit of weight and I had a powerful career. Like, there's no doubt about it. I was making really good money in my late 20s. I had a master's degree from a prestigious university. I was doing really, really well, and I had really great results. But the thing was, it was beating me down. I was sacrificing my family. We were living in the same house, but I was watching my kids grow up without me, basically. My health started to take a back seat. I was putting my career first. And then next thing I know, my performance started to drop at work. I was tired all the time. I developed depression. I went on medications to do everything. And that's because I kept trying to basically fit inside the box.
Yeah.
And guys, this is more than just thinking outside the box. Okay. This is more than just coloring outside the lines. This is literally getting your ass up and out of the box that you're living in. And I'm not saying you have to throw away your cell phone or throw away your office or throw away your shower, because they're all boxes, right? But just think about it. Living a box life means you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's like, here's your life. It's in a box. Enjoy. And that might be cool.
Go ahead.
I said it might be cool for a year or so, but I don't know about you, but man, just doing it over and over again to me is just so boring. It's not. Yeah. It's just not fulfilling. I mean, yeah, the money might be coming in, or yeah, maybe you're taking it to the next level. But really, what are you sacrificing? Is that what life's really about? And to me, living in a box, working in a box, being a box, pretending to be a box when you know you're not a box and you hate it deep down inside, is not the way to live life. It just burns you out.
Yeah, I mean, I just got off the phone with someone last week that just, he works a lot, but he spends his weekends completely feeling exhausted and worn out because what he's doing he's not getting fulfillment in other areas of his life. And so he's spending his weekend watching The Box, right? Watching Netflix, living other people's stories and lives. And, again, you got to really ask yourself, is this what you really want to be doing for the next decade or 2 decades? Because if you don't change something about your energy levels, if you don't start fixing this and tackling this and looking at the blind spots of where you're actually keeping yourself trapped in this box, it only gets worse. Believe us, because we were there and we had to bust out of the box. And yeah, it wasn't comfortable. And yeah, we had to basically recreate ourselves. And it's not easy. But you know what? Living exhausted is absolutely miserable. So I'd rather, make the push to break out of the box and have that uncomfortableness for a little while than to spend decades just feeling like I'm not alive.
Yeah. This is one of the biggest blind spots, and people don't realize that they are literally living in a box. And some people know it. Some people are like, "Yep, this is my life. I'm not really excited with it, but this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I have to do." And those are the words right there that are sabotaging. Those are blind spots. I have to. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think that I have to.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that they should have to do something, if that makes sense. Where you should really change that from a should to a could. And, and so I would propose the question out there to ask yourself, everyone, is, what would happen to my life if I got outside of a box? If I got outside the box that I'm in? I mean, I'm not saying you've got to quit your career. I'm not saying you got to do this, but what I'm saying is the way that you're approaching things, the strategy that you're using to live day to day, to make work happen, to try and, if you've got a family, to try to make the family work together. Or if not, if you don't have a family and you want a family, but you're having a struggling getting out there and meeting people. I talked to several people this weekend, Elea, who are all fantastic people, fantastic guys. And they've all been struggling with energy, and they're struggling to, they're in their late 40s and in their 50s, and they still haven't met the one yet. Mm-hmm. And they've been so focused on their career that it's just burning them out. It's making them tired. And they're getting to the point where they're just starting to feel despair because they don't have a social life.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what they're doing. They're coming home and they're turning on the box and they're binge watching Netflix, or they're turning on another box, breaking out their iPads and going through Facebook and scrolling through the news feed for like 5 hours. Mm-hmm. So number one, guys, you've got to stop living in the box. So the second thing you're doing to sabotage your lot, to sabotage the blind spots that are sabotaging your career business, is you keep buying in. And so what you've got to start doing, you've got to quit buying in. And another way to say that, Elea, is you've got to quit trying to fit in. Mm-hmm. So tell us more about that.
This really boils down to the decisions we make, which come from a position of safety. And I think the most prime example of this is, for so many of us, it's like we went through college, and I heard this story so many times, right? It's like, I really want to do this, but my parents say it's not a good decision, or society says artists don't make any money, or this or that. So I chose, or I settled for this, career, or I settled for this. And that tends to just follow us through the rest of our trajectory, right? Is this constant battle between risk and safety. And too many of us in the burnout position have chosen safety in a over-exaggerated way that is actually just squashing our life, right? Our joie de vivre, if you would say. Like, just, it is not allowing us to actually breathe and take the risks that we need to in order to really level up our career and our health, which, of course, as we talk about here in this group all the time, you got to have your energy, you got to have your vitality if you really want to take it to the next level.
Right. So tying into the first one, living a box life, one of the things that the blind spots I see is, like, as soon as somebody removes a blind spot and they start to get out of it, it becomes unknown. Right?
Yeah.
And so they go back into the box. Mm-hmm. And to get back in the box, you've got to buy in.
Yeah.
Right. By staying in the box, you're buying into the way that things must be done. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you guys have heard it over and over again. You've got to, working hard pays off. You've got to climb the corporate ladder. What else is out there? You got to network your balls off. You've got to, whatever it might be, you've got to get out there and do all this stuff. in order to have a successful career, in order to have a success, like you have to do this. You have to find a marketing strategy. You've got to find the right leads. You've got to find the right clients, the right patients, the right customers, the right whatever it is that you call the people that you work with, business to business or business to consumer. And what's really funny is that we buy into all this stuff. You know, we buy into Six Sigma. We buy into all these things. And what it does, all these things, what they're doing is they're putting up a giant blind spot to the number one thing that's going to help you with your career and success more than anything else. And that's your energy. Mm-hmm. That's your health. That's how good you actually feel when you wake up in the morning. And are you waking up energized, excited in the morning or not? And at the end of the day, when you come home, whether it be 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8 o'clock, are you freaking exhausted? Yeah. And do you get refreshing sleep? So if you come home exhausted in the day and you wake up the next day, are you ready to go? Or are you dealing with no motivation? Are you dealing with low this, low that, low confidence, low self-worth? Are you dealing with just being tired? You know, is your health keep taking a beating because you just keep working your ass off and you're not getting forward in momentum, but you keep looking for ways to make your career, you know, accelerate or your business grow better or be able to stay in that without sacrificing your health, but you just can't figure it out. And that's because what you're doing is you're buying into a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, you're buying into other people's beliefs. You're buying into society's beliefs. You're buying maybe into beliefs of your friends or your parents. And you really got to ask yourself if you really want to buy those beliefs, because there's a lot of different things out there that could really support you. And again, I see a lot of people choosing belief systems that, while they seem safe on the outside, become their imprisonment.
Yes. And so the whole concept of buying in, and I'm not saying that there aren't some really great ideas out there. There are better ideas on how to excel for performance and better ideas and marketing and stuff like that than there ever has been. There's some really great stuff out there. But the thing is, when you buy in that is the answer to your problem, that's where the problem actually is. You're putting up a blind spot. None of that stuff is going to work very well. Can it work a little bit? Yeah. Is it going to work really good? No, not until you're physically healthy and you're feeling on top of your game. Because when you're on top of your game and you're crushing it, right, and you feel fantastic, you're able to just like make things friggin' happen. And when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter if you're a Six Sigma business or not. It doesn't. I mean, this stuff is cool. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter. What matters is the health and the energy of the employees and the people on the team who are making that work. And Six Sigma has come up as a way to deal with, in my opinion, underperforming teams due to low energy and low health, right? Because all they do is friggin' work. That they're in that box and they keep buying into it. So now they bought in the Six Sigma. Okay, this is going to help us. And yes, it'll help you sustain, but is it really going to have the impact as if you took your entire team and you basically gave them a slice of healthy pie? Yeah. Right? And I'm not talking about a Red Bull just to make it work for the afternoon. I'm talking about every day they come in and they're kicking butt. And if you're a business owner, if you're a team leader, if you're an entrepreneur, you're no longer having them manage them like you do. You actually hired them to do what you wanted to do, and that's actually do shit without you having to control them and micromanage them. But that only happens when, of course, you have to have an intelligent person. You got to have a motivated person. You got to have someone who's self-driven. They've got to be trained in some areas. They've got to be a self-learner. But they've also got to have really good, consistent energy and have self-care on top of their priority list. So people are buying into that money is the major focus of all of America. Almost everybody in America, their focus is on their career, their focus is on cash flow, their focus is on income. And then they have down here, they have it's either fun, trying to decompress and have a little bit of fun after all that work, or maybe their family. And I know for me, it was money. Now it was either money or fun, career or fun, then my family, and then my health was at the bottom. And most people put their health at the bottom, and it's admirable for a minute. But what ends up happening is you have less impact on your family. You actually start zapping energy from the room, and you just start hating life. So either you keep your high-powered career and your business, and it's doing okay, but meanwhile, other people in your life are suffering who you really care about. And sometimes it's your significant other. Sometimes it's your kids. And a lot of times it's just yourself. So quit buying in. Elea, anything else on that one?
Well, there's one other thing I want to mention on buying in, which is something I've heard a lot in the conversations I've had over the last week, which is drama. Buying into drama, or what I like to call the peanut gallery, where I hear people saying, I want to start this business. I want to up-level my career. I want to get that promotion. But so-and-so is blocking me from doing that. Or so-and-so took my computer. Or so-and-so did this. Or these people are...
Blame.
saying these things about me. And so it's so important to realize that you've got to be so careful about buying into drama. Because when we do that, that's another huge energy suck. And it's also another huge blind spot, because it can be so convincing to buy into drama. And we want to get in there and fix it. And we want to voice our opinion. We want to tell people how they're wrong. But the thing is, 99% of the time, it's really just a waste of time. And it, again, keeps you blocked in. And it's not keeping you focused on what the real issue is, and, of course, where you want to be spending your time.
Yes. So number one, stop living a box life. Number two, quit buying in. And that leads us right into number three. And this is a new concept that I don't think we've ever introduced to anybody here. And is you've got to start fitting out.
Yeah.
And basically the premise is you've all heard about fitting in. It's kind of like you're buying in, right? But stop trying to fit in with everybody else. Stop thinking that this is just the way life is. That, you just get old, you hit 40, you hit 45, you get tired, your knees go bad, your body goes to shit, your eyesight starts to go. Next thing you know, you're gray hair, blah, blah, blah. Guys, when you start fitting out, right? And that is get outside of that bubble, or that normal, that's the status quo. That start getting to the peripheral edges of that thing, right? Stop being stuck and suffocated on inside, because you can't see what's outside of that when you keep fitting yourself in there.
Yeah.
You've got to start fitting out. You've got to get out to the boundary so you can actually see what's going on. I mean, there's a theme here. They kind of all go together. Get out of the, stop living a box life, stop buying in, and start fitting out. But these are really big blind spots for people, because it just covers their eyes, and all they can see is straight ahead, and all they can see that this is what life is. This is what I have to do. I have to do this. I've got to get up. I got to go through traffic. I got to check my email. I got to deal with whatever boss I got to deal with, or I got to deal with whatever employee I've got to deal with, or I've got to deal with whatever stockholder or shareholder or investor I've ever got to deal with. And then I got to go over here and I got to do this. Oh, no, I'm not going to be able to do that because now I got an emergency over here. Now I got to go deal with this. I got to put out this fire. Where's the fire? Oh, there's another fire over here. Okay. It's the end of the day. Shit. Didn't get anything of my stuff done. Now I'm going to go home. I'm going to light up my computer. Now I'm going to do my email. I'm going to go through stuff. Oh, the kids. Okay. I got to spend with the kids. Oh, got to play some dinner. Crap. I'm really freaking hungry. I am so tired. I don't want to make anything. Okay. That frozen pizza's half off. I'll take that. Okay, I'm going to break that home, put it in the oven. Okay, no, need to decompress. Okay, now I'm so wound up I can't go to sleep. Okay, so I'm going to have some wine. I'm going to play some Candy Crush on the back porch. And then, and it just stop fitting into that mold.
Yeah. And this is a really tough one, right? Because there's a lot of momentum, like the speed of our society, the speed of the way everyone is working right now is, you've got to be part of the wave that says, stop, this is crazy, right? This is chaos. This is ridiculous. Like, some of our clients are actually really changing the way that their entire companies are operating. And it's not because they're in a leadership position. It's just because they are actually taking leadership within themselves. And people are like, hey, what you're doing is cool. I want.
Yeah, they're like, how'd you do that? They're like, wait. You were at bottom of the barrel 6 months ago. Now you're on top and you're leading the entire company in a new direction. And they have the same job. Okay. They haven't been promoted. They haven't done anything, but they're leading. And they're like, how did you look so different? You look like a corpse before. What did you do? How did you do it? And how come you're so calm and polite? And how come you're so energetic? And how come you're so energized? How did you go from bottom of the barrel to number one in the company? How did you do that? And so that's what Elea is talking about.
Yeah. And here's something else about stepping out, which is really being vulnerable enough to share what's going on with you, to share your pain, to say, look, this isn't working, or this is what I need to be successful, or, hey, again, looking at your business model and really figuring out, what is working and what isn't, and being willing to try something new, try something different. And when you share your pain and vulnerability, when you share your frustrations, it allows other people on the team to also step out and say, yeah, this isn't working for me either. Yeah, this is really completely demoralizing me and is taking away all of my motivation to move the team forward, right? And so, again, it's so important to just be honest, to listen to that voice within that is telling you, yeah, I know this is the way everyone says to do it, but it's not working, right? And really listen to that and figure out, okay, what do we need to do to change this strategy? Because this strategy is draining me. It's sucking my soul away. Yeah. And having the courage to step out and say, let's change this. Let's change what we believe about this. Let's change how we're addressing this, and let's do something different.
Now, and I agree, Elea. It's so, you've got to, and here's what happens is change is friggin' tough. It is. I mean, people talk about it all the time, and what, we kind of talk about this, I think, I can't remember if it was our last live or if you and I were talking about it, and one thing I've realized over and over again, and you hear this all the time, happiness is just a choice. Happiness is just a choice. Just be happy. Do you know how friggin' hard it is to choose happiness when you're that emotion, and every emotion has a chemical component to it, a chemical makeup that drains into your body. And when you're addicted, and your body becomes addicted to those chemicals, right, of those emotions. And when you're addicted to anything but happiness, just simply choosing happiness, it doesn't work that way. Mm-hmm. You can't just be happy. Mm-hmm. And as Ellie, I think, as you put it, forcing positive thinking is not positive thinking.
Yeah.
When you have to force it. You guys have got to learn how to, all you have to do is be willing. You've got to be willing to change. You've got to embrace that it's going to be unknown, but don't try to do it alone.
Yeah.
This is where people sabotage themselves. They'll say, okay, I'm going to make some great changes today. They step a little bit outside. They try to stop buying in. They try to get out of the box life. They try to start fitting out. And then I don't know what's going to happen next. And then they just come right back to where they are.
Yeah. And, Adam, I think one thing too, when we talk to people on the phone, I mean, we really hear a lot of, we hear a lot of stuff from business owners, which, we know very well from having had a retail shop ourselves. But we also hear from a lot of people that are like, I want to switch careers. I want to change this. I want to recreate my identity, and talk about something that is risky and feels scary, especially after 40, because you're like, can I recreate myself after 40? I mean, we live in a society that absolutely idolizes youth. And so every alarm in your entire system is going to start going off when you're like, I want to make a change, and can I actually do this? And do I have the energy to do it, right? Because, of course, when you're in your 20s, you're like, yeah, I'll stay up all night, I'll work all day, I'll do doubles, I'll whatever. And you don't feel it. But, of course, as you get older, you start to feel the effects of just being what I like to call irresponsible with your energy, right? You start to feel the effects of that more, which makes you hone in more and really listen to what it is that fuels you and what it is that depletes you. Yes. And that's so, so key about stepping out and being willing to say, this depletes me, and I no longer want to do this, think this way or respond this way or engage in this strategy because it's slowly killing me.
Yes, absolutely. So just before people are about to be really successful, they often sabotage themselves because they put the blinders back on.
Yeah.
You've got to, number one, stop living in the box life, quit buying in, and start fitting out. You have to. Yeah. You've got to take an integrative approach to business. You got to take an integrative approach to your life, and you got to take an integrative approach to your health. And this is, a lot of people are seeking for the ultimate work-life balance, and I'm here to say that you can't. You just can't. Because balance indicates that there's something heavy over here that needs to be balanced out. So you got bad and you've got and you've got good. There we go. I'm in frame now. So you got bad and you've got good. And what you really want to focus on is business, health, and life integration. And the only way to do that is by taking the right action, having the right attitude, and having some fun along the way. Things don't have to suck all the time. The process of changing your life does not have to be miserable. And guys, if you'd like to maybe chat about how you can, stop sabotaging your career, or stop sabotaging your health, or stop sacrificing your sanity and your freedom. If you want to be able to navigate a growing business, if you want to be able to navigate a high-powered career, without all that, and actually enjoy the fruits of your labor, actually optimize your health and accelerate things and fuel things, then come on over to movethinksmile.com/talk and book a time to chat with Elea or myself. We'd love to get on the phone with you for about 45 to 60 minutes or so, kind of dive in, uncover what's really blocking your success, uncover what blind spots you really have, uncover, what's sabotaging you from making forward progress with your health and integration of life and your career.
Yeah, I think, Adam, that's so key, because every conversation I have, in a lot of ways, my heart is always breaking a bit, because, I talk to these people who say, I know I could be making an extra 20K a year, an extra 50K a year if I just had more energy, if I could just, have a little bit more focus and clarity. And yet they're afraid to actually make that leap, even though they see that, the benefit of changing this is like astronomical, right? It's massive. And yet there's that, again, blind spot of blocking ourselves into a box of thinking, well, my health will just sort it out, or, well, I can't, it's not that important. I'll just keep powering through. And people just, again, are blind to what this fatigue and burnout is actually costing them in the long run. And it's crazy. Yeah. So, we do really invite you guys to book a call to really, that can be a very clarifying moment for people where they go, hell no, I am not putting up with this anymore. This is ridiculous. I want to take that extra 20K or that extra 50K and start doing some really cool things with it.
Now, to put it in perspective, when Elea says, what it's costing people, there's a couple ways to look at it. You've got two types of people that we talk to. You've got the people who are, they're worth about $100 an hour. They've got the career, they've got the business, but things are starting to slide back. They're really having a tough time managing it. A lot of them are losing some of their best employees, and they're starting to realize that employees don't quit companies, employees quit their bosses. And, in smaller companies, a lot of times it's the founder, that's the owner, that's the CEO or the operating manager, right? And it's because they're slipping. They've been sabotaging their own career, their own business, because they have lost sight of their own health. And they've got this habit and they don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And they're all very intelligent people, and they're all absolutely creatively fantastic people, but they have been doing the same thing, and they know just eating well, doing some more exercise, drinking some more water, just getting more sleep. It's not as simple as that. The process can be very simple to get your energy back on fire and to really, really accelerate and ignite your life, through action, adventure, and attitude is the way I like to say, or move, think, smile with more energy and all those places. But a lot of people don't. And then you've got the people down here who know that if they had their energy back and they were at full capacity and their life was operating on all cylinders, they would be worth $100 an hour. So you have the people who know they could be there, but just can't get there. And you have the people that are there that are slowly, they're either trickling backwards or their life outside of work sucks. They just don't have one. They might have a family, they might have a marriage, they might have this, but something isn't as jovial as it should be. They're not getting out there and doing the things they like. And I know some people that really love their career, and they spend all their time and they take their work homes on the weekends, and they're dedicated because they really love what they do. But I also know at the same time that, their wives would really like to have them around more. I also can see this with some of my friends that, it's like they're starting to get older a lot faster than I am, even though we're the same age. And a lot of that is because they're prioritizing the wrong things, but you can have your cake and eat it too. That old, you really can, but you've got to reprioritize things. You got to stop, you got to take off the blinders. You got to stop sabotaging yourself. And guys, if you'd like to chat about making that happen or identifying what your blind spots are, come on over to movethinksmile.com/talk, pick a time on our calendar, Book it. We'd love to chat with you. And until then, Elliot, do you have anything else?
No, that's it. That is it. Just come check us out. And of course, as always, if you have questions about what we said here today, put that in the comments, or if something really resonated with you, give us a shout out. Let us know that you heard this.
Yeah, and if you guys are listening to this on our podcast or on our YouTube channel, come on over to Facebook, look up Move, Think, Smile. You've got a Facebook page with, I don't know, almost 13,000 followers on it. We're getting ready to celebrate that breakthrough. And we've got a private group. You can look up the Fatigue-Free Professional or Burnout to Badass. And I'm pretty sure the only people on the planet like that. And you guys can come join us there and get all the notifications. And until then, guys, we'll see you soon.